After Apple, you began a series of advisor roles a short time after that, advising firms like StumbleUpon, Motorola, Ustream. Um, what's a common challenge that you see these rapidly growing tech companies face?
Yeah, well, first of all, one should be so lucky that the challenge is rapidly growing. Okay,
Okay.
so I think the most common thing in all startups is achieving sales, and that sounds like you know a duhism in the sense like, well, of course, every startup has trouble achieving sales, but my theory is sales fixes everything, man. As long as you have sales, you are in the game and you can fix everything else. And so that's the challenge. And if any entrepreneur tells you that his or her greatest problem is scaling fast enough, I think you're talking to a liar. I mean, you know, uh, if you have sales, you'll figure out a way to scale. If you don't have sales, it doesn't matter if you know how to scale.
I suppose there's a lot of dot com companies, perhaps not nowadays, but maybe 5 to 10 years ago, that did very well from a scale perspective, but didn't have a business model that could be particularly profitable. So, did you
Yeah.
spend a lot of time thinking about business models and getting people to um, come up with better ones?
I wish I could say that's the problem. I mean, you know, uh, listen, if somebody said to me, okay, so I have this company and we are just like adding tens of thousands of users every day, but we can't figure out how to monetize that, I would love to have that problem. And that's
Okay.
not a hard problem to solve. Everybody's problem is, we thought the software would be on time, it's late. We thought everybody would love what we're going to do. There'd be early adopters who would tell the main street and late adopters. And, our biggest problem is scaling. Can we bring up the service fast enough in enough languages, et cetera, et cetera? I never have encountered that problem. So now, having said that, I'm chief evangelist of a company called Canva. And
Mm.
Canva is close to what I just described. I mean, we are signing up tens of thousands of people every day across the world in, I don't know, like 100 languages. But we are scaling. So that's finally at the end of my career, I found, I found this unicorn. That's the problem. Hallelujah.
Wow. I mean, I think I saw a post on LinkedIn recently. It was 5 million users you've just surpassed there.
It's way more than that. It's like more than double that now. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's certainly an incredible number of users. And I've used Canva before, but I haven't used the paid version before. So I
Yeah.
guess the challenge is converting people to that. But once you get the
Well,
users that are,
I mean, that's the kind of game we're in, right? So at the top of the funnel, tens of thousands of new customers are coming in every day. And at the bottom of the funnel, we have to get enough people to either buy templates or buy photos or sign up for the enterprise version. But if you start at the top of the funnel with tens of thousands of new prospects every day, uh, you need to get a small percentage to achieve success at the bottom of the funnel. The problem is for most companies is that at the top of the funnel, they're getting hundreds or thousands of people per day, not tens of thousands per day. And so it is a funnel problem.
so it's funny that you've come back to this job title, Chief Evangelist,
Yes,
almost full circle. Chief Evangelist
it
for
is.
Canva,
It is full circle.
brand ambassador for Mercedes Benz USA as
Yeah.
well. So, what key activities would you say that chief evangelist role does that a
Yeah,
modern business owner needs to be
sure.
needs to be aware of? Yeah.
So evangelism comes from Greek word meaning bringing the good news. And so that's what an evangelist does. You bring the good news. So I started my career bringing the good news of Macintosh, how it made people more creative and productive. I'm ending my career as a chief evangelist of Canva, bringing the good news of Canva, because Canva enables anybody to be a great graphic designer. And we've created hundreds of designs for hundreds of categories. And the categories are presentations, posters, business cards, flyers, social media graphics, and every one of those categories has hundreds of pre-done designs in them that you customize. And so, think of Canva as Photoshop for the rest of us. And that's good news, right? I mean,
Mm.
so you don't have to submit a project description. You don't have to look for a designer. You don't have to pay a designer. You don't have to revise with a designer. It's totally empowering for an individual to create great designs. So that's evangelism, man. You can't have much better great news than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly great being chief of marketing or your chief evangelist for a company whose product is brilliant. Would you say it's possible nowadays, or will be possible in the future, to conduct marketing campaigns for products that are inferior and expect to actually be able to make money through that or be successful through
Well,
that?
I mean, certainly it's helped in politics, but we won't go down that hole. Um, I think I call this Guy's Golden Touch. And Guy's Golden Touch is not that whatever I touch turns to gold. Guy's Golden Touch is whatever is gold Guy touches. And so I'll tell you, the key to evangelism is you evangelize something good, because it's easy to evangelize something good. It's very hard to evangelize crap. So find something good or create something good. That's the key. And now even that seems like a doesism. Like, oh, Guy, thank you very much for that incredible insight. Because until I heard this podcast, I was going to find some piece of crap to evangelize. And now you tell me, oh, evangelize something great. But you know what? Inside that doism is some wisdom that, the key to evangelizing something, the key to selling something is make something great. Everything else is easy after that.
So we've covered 10 kind of key points there.
Yeah, all right.
Sometimes you have bonus tips in your presentations. So what's one key life lesson that we've missed?
Well, describe the sweet spot of your listener, and I'll give you a final tip here.
Well, the kind of Business Book of the Month podcast is full of people that probably have fairly recently established businesses that are likely to be digital and online, and looking for better ways of systematizing what they do. So they've got a reasonably successful business up and running, but they need to make it more efficient and profitable.
Okay, so the best tip I can give you is you should always hire people who are better than you at the function you need. And when you look around the room, you should look at everybody and say, okay, so that person is better than me in finance, that person is better than me in sales, that person in marketing, that person in social media, that person in engineering. And if you can say that everybody's in the room is better than you, you have done a great job. And if you look around the room and you say, I'm better than the finance person in finance, the marketing person in marketing, the engineering person in engineering, you are a loser. So always hire people who are better than you.
Superb stuff. Well, you've been listening to Guy Kawasaki, the author of Wise Guy, Lessons from a Life. Guy, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. I hope everybody at least considers reading the book, because took me about 40 years to write it. It'll take you about 2 hours to read it, or 3 hours to read it. So, the goal of the book is for you to profit from my mistakes. So you don't repeat my mistakes. You do things more optimally, and at least make different mistakes than I did.
Well, I was listening to it actually earlier on today, and I like the way that you're very fact orientated, and you jump from do this, do that. Here's the lesson I learned here. There's no fluff in there at all, is there?
There's no fluff. No. This is not I don't take 200 pages to tell you one idea, okay? So there are 50, 60 ideas in there. Every one of them is tactical. It's not a book of visionary, it's also not a feel-good book about, believe in yourself and look in the mirror and tell yourself you can. I'm not a cult, kind of motivational guy. This is all tactical and practical.
Lovely stuff. Well, the book again, Wise Guy, Lessons from a Life. Yeah, thanks again, Guy.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Business Book of the Month.com